to get the folders with each set of files in those. We're going to use the heart file. You get an AI file, a DXF file, an EPS, a PDF, and an SVG. I'm going to use the AI file just because I like the original, and I can use that to set up my Word file on it, sized just perfectly, and I can cut everything at once to make things quicker. Okay, so the heart file is open, and you'll see that all of the engraving is in black. The cut file is in gray, and all the engraving shapes are in one layer. So when you bring it into, say, Glowforge, you can set it to engrave layer first, then cut. So let's talk about the size we want it. So I'm going to select the whole thing just by using my selection tool and marquee around everything. And then at the top up here, I can look and see what my size is here. So maybe I only want this to be 12 inches wide. I can set it that way, or I can set the height, which is 10 inches high. And that's perfect for me. This is not going to be a big sign. You could do these really big, which would look beautiful in living rooms that had really high ceilings. So I'm going to take that file and use that. So I'm going to go ahead and create a working file and just do a file save as. I think I'll throw it on my desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and open up the Words files so that I can check out those. All right, in the family Words files, you do get an example PDF. I don't know if that really matters to you, but hey, if it doesn't. So you get the same file sizes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the working file for the family words. And I want the word family. I want to make sure I select everything, including the little dot. And I'm just going to copy it. You can do a Command or Control C to copy. You can close it now, and you can go back to your shiplap shape and hit Command V or Control V to paste it. And what I like to do is make sure everything should be on the same shape layer. So let's go to Window, Pathfinder. I like for these to all be one, so I'm just going to combine them just to make sure. So if I select over here, it does select the dot, just something I like to do. So now what we can do is size it. So what I like to do is hold down my Shift and Option key and just size from the center and make it as big as I need it to be on there. So that looks pretty good. Now if I wanted to create score lines, I could. You can follow my video that I have already up on the website for that. I'm not going to worry about it for this particular design because it's pretty simple. Plus, because it's more bounced lettering, it's going to be more forgiving that it's not perfectly straight if that's the case. Okay, so I want to make this gray. So what I'm actually going to do is go ahead and rotate it. Now, you may not want to rotate it on your sheet because of the way the grain goes in your wood. That's totally up to you. I'm painting it, so it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to scoot this over, and I'm going to take my word family, take my eyedropper tool, select on the gray. That looks pretty good, right? And now I can actually have one cut here, and one engrave here. So what I will do now is file save as an SVG file, hit save, and I can send that to my Glowforge printer. And what I like to do is choose engraving first, cut second, and then cut again. So that way I don't have too many layers, plus I don't have any shifting. If I can engrave first before cutting, then I'm not going to get shifting. If, say, I cut this and then it drops a little in the machine or it moves, my engraving is not going to be wonky. Also, because these are the file is set up so that your engraving is going horizontal, the engraving is going to go much faster on the Glowforge than if it were up and down or diagonal. So that is something I do like to share with you guys from time to time as well. All right, so let's go bring it into our Glowforge and see what we get. Okay, so I can show you here in Glowforge, it's already ready to run, but I want you to see that we did choose our thick basswood plywood as our option because this is a 1/4 inch. You can choose some of the Glowforge default settings for those that might make it easier for you. You'll notice the engrave is the first layer and then cut is the second. And then we did go in and actually adjust our engrave a little bit just so that it could cut a little bit faster. But this is a pretty quick process. I'm gonna let you watch it being cut and then we'll put it all together. Okay, for this project, we're using Krylone's Color Max Paint and Primer Gloss Blue Ocean Breeze. Now, I do talk about this later, but I did come back and use some Kills to prime them. I also found these really cool grates to help me with painting these smaller words. It helps things, you know, not fall through, but also allows it to not pool up around it, which are super great. I did get them at my local Lowe's store, and you can check out the SKU on those, and I'll try to link them in the listing. For the shiplap shape, I am going to use an 80 grit 3M edge detailing sanding brush. If I had a hand or a power sander, I would go with something a little finer grit. So you're going to want to sand with the grain of the wood, as well as try to help get those burn marks off of there as you're doing it. We did use some goof off to get that label off of there, and then made sure that was pretty clean and dry and ready to stain. So the stain that we're going to be using for this project is Minwax Wood Finish. This is a dark walnut 2716. I'll link that in the product descriptions. So I also recommend wearing gloves, using a sponge paintbrush that you can dispose of, as well as a paper towel. You're going to want to run the stain in with the grain of the wood. My nephew is telling us how to do it. And you're going to want to go across the entire piece, and then once you've covered it, you'll use your towel or a sponge to wipe away the excess and allow it to dry. I recommend at least 24 hours. Of course, that also depends on the environment that you're in, if it's cold, humid, etc. All right, so we have our pieces all complete, ready to go. Now, this was stained and looks pretty good. I like the rough design. Kind of looks rustic, has that farmhouse feel to it. And I really love the pop of blue that we chose for the word family. Now, I will say this, that I did start painting this blue and then realized that it wasn't sticking as well as I would like. A lot of it has to do with sanding. And because these are so delicate, sanding can be kind of difficult. So I would recommend doing something like maybe with a Dremel, if you can get a Dremel for your business, and small sanding, that might help. But I did go back and use our Kills primer to paint over it and then do blue, and it did help. I did miss a few spots, but I'm okay with that for now. For demo purposes, I can go back and retouch that stuff up. It could also be because of the glossy consistency, because when I did paint something with the satin finish one, it did tend to cover better. So that could play something into it. So it could be the brand. It could also have been the temperature, although it was really nice out that day. But that could play something into it as well. So there are a lot of factors with spray paint that you need to kind of figure out for your environment and the products you're using, that it's always going to be specific to that reason. So we have the shiplap heart shape that we created and the wood family name that we're going to put on here. And I'm keeping this project pretty simple just because I want you guys to have some really fun, easy, quick things you can create to sell, say at craft shows or different things like that. You could also bring in some of the felt florals to this. This is some of the ones we did for the Fox geometric design, and we do have some tutorials coming up on using and creating some of the felt florals as well. And before we get started, I did want to show you guys the shiplap shapes size down, which make great door hangers or ornaments or little pieces as well. So the cool thing is you can resize these shiplap shapes to anything you want. So with this, all we're going to do, because I did not score it on here because I wasn't sure yet what word I was going to put on here, I think I can get it straight. I don't think it's too difficult. If you had a lot going on, you might want to set up scoring on the background. But as always, we're just going to use our Stick Fast CA adhesive to adhere it down. And I'm not going to lie, this is not the original dot, but you know, sometimes we improvise because we lose pieces after we cut them. So with the Stick Fast, we just want to do a little bit. I have some stuff on mine. I don't like to do too much because I don't want it to ooze out when we place it down onto the shape. But we want to get some dots of it placed around in a lot of the places that are going to be helping to get it tacked down. And because we do have some of the engraving in the shiplap shape, we just want to make sure it covers everything so it doesn't, you know, that doesn't affect how it sticks to it because of that sort of engraved crevice area. So the family shapes, as I have mentioned, words, you get multiple words in that pack, and you also get multiple shapes in the Shiplap shapes pack as well. And I mean, honestly, the possibilities are endless. I've seen some done that I think I'll try and do for you guys, where they use some scrapbook paper in some of the design pieces of it. I think I did that pretty good. Talking and doing that at the same time is probably not a good idea, right? So as always, I like to stand, I'll tell you about that in a second, but I like to stand up over my design to make sure everything is straight and get it placed on there. And because it's more of a like bouncy lettering, it's got some forgiveness, right? So we just want to go ahead and press it in, and that's going to stick pretty quickly. I might get a little bit of movement in some of these pieces that are off centered a little. They're a little more loose, so they're not as sturdy, but we just want to give that a chance to set in there. But I don't know what I was saying. Oh. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be working on some new things. Oh, I know what it was. So the I've seen it where some of these are painted different colors, the lines in the shiplap sections, or some scrap paper decoupage in between. So I think Cindy, my mom, who also does this business with me, probably is better at that than me. So I'm going to let her probably see the lead on that one. So I'm going to place that down there, and then we have this beautiful design that you can create and have ready to go at things like craft fairs or that sort of thing, and not have to worry about personalization or anything like that. So I hope you like this simple project. The two products in our store are super easy to use together, and the combinations are endless. And next week I'm going to show you how I took a miniature version of one of these with something and some felt flowers and create a little fun door hanger, and I will show you that next week. So I hope you